I'm sure we've all seen or at least heard of the Kardashians, more specifically Kim Kardashian, the figurehead of the family. So back in 2017, while promoting her KKW beauty line, she faced allegations of appropriating Black culture because she appeared in blackface due to the obvious darkening of her skin tone in the promotional image. So she faced a lot of controversy over this. And so today I will be trying to persuade the audience on the negative aspects of cultural appropriation. So why does cultural appropriation need to be addressed? Well, there's a fine line between cultural appropriation and cultural appreciation. So cultural appropriation involves a dominant race adopting cultural ways from a lesser minority race. And so this representation can be seen as culturally offensive, especially when cultures are not credited or poorly expressed. And so I will be covering 3 main points today, and that is cultural appropriation versus cultural appreciation, the misuse in popular media, and how cultural appropriation stems from racism. And so beginning with my first point, cultural appropriation versus cultural appreciation. Author Karen Howards from the Music Educators Journal claims that cultural appropriation can be taken personally, especially by those whose culture and history has been trivialized or overlooked. And so this can cause harm to members of a community, and it can model oppressive behaviors due to the lack of respect. And so whereas cultural appreciation is where people try and learn and understand another culture, but not solely for their own personal interest or popularity gain. And so Brian Morden from the University of Pennsylvania states that we as a whole need to work on our sympathetic imagination, meaning we need to imagine the lives of others. So people need to take into account how people's feelings and how they might feel if you're taking from their culture, especially if you're not doing it correctly. And so Matthias Seams from the European University Institute claims that the big issue regarding cultural appropriation is the lack of consideration of the context you're taking the cultural piece from. So it's okay to be interested in another culture, but to use it incorrectly, it's not okay, and people need to be enlightened on their wrongdoings. And so this leads me to my next point, the misuse of cultures in popular media. And so music is listened to by a wide range of individuals, and they all have different tastes, whether that is K-pop, Latin music, country, rap, etc. But the problem with music is how producers and composers take a lot from different genres, specifically cultures, and they oftentimes don't give credit to these obvious cultural elements that they have taken. And so with that, Karen Howards further states that music educators need to take the time to explore the source culture and approach the traditions of others in a respectful manner so that the people in music studied are neither demeaned nor exploited. And with that, music isn't the only area where cultural appropriation is evident. And so Jason Jackson from the Indiana University Bloomington states that cultural appropriation debates frequently appear in media reports and across social media feeds. And so these are large platforms, and the public figures tend to forget how diversified their audience is, and they quickly understand when they see how people react to just what is put out there in the world. And Brian Morden goes on to also state that cultural appropriation accusations are often made against successful artists and celebrities. So this includes Katy Perry, Pharrell Williams, Karlie Kloss, all of which were called out for wearing not culturally appropriate clothes, especially for the context that it was used in. So they were for runways and performances, and it was not necessary. And so this leads me to my last point, how cultural appropriation stems from racism. And so Matthias Seams further states how it is clearly unacceptable if a powerful group further advances its privileged position by way of taking cultural phenomenon from a less powerful group. And so, for example, white people have been taking from Black culture for decades. What they wear, how they talk, how they cook. But yet, Black people constantly face discrimination and prejudice a lot in the world by these same people. And so, with that, Matthias also touches on how Western culture is more powerful, and it's seen as acceptable that non-Westerners condone Western clothing, whether that is suits or ties, but yet Westerners are not allowed to wear other cultural outfits from other cultures. And this is because why should the non-oppressed get to wear something that others constantly face hardships over? And so that's that. And then Brian Morden concludes that much of the mixing of cultures has been horribly done on unequal terms. And that is because credit is not given where credit is due. And so, in conclusion, the cultural appropriation differs from cultural appreciation because it lacks sincerity and understanding. And the media openly displays various instances of cultural misuse, and power dynamics is the underlying reason behind cultural appropriation. So how can we avoid cultural appropriation in the future? And that is, we can do more research on the culture that we are taking from or adopting from. We can advocate more diversity in the world, and we can give credit to the cultures that we take from more often. And so, thank you.